2025 marks 136 years since Nintendo was founded by Fusajiro Yamauchi in Kyoto, Japan. Back then, it produced handmade Hanafuda playing cards. But like all good stories, there was only one problem. The market was changing and the playing cards business had very limited long-term potential, if any. So, when Yamauchi's great-grandson Hiroshi took over the company, Nintendo started experimenting with different industries. Then, in the 1970s, Nintendo started making video game consoles. As it would turn out, this would be Nintendo's most successful venture to date. Fast forward to 2025, and not only is Nintendo the third largest gaming console company on the planet, behind just Sony and Microsoft, it has also made billions in revenue. In fact, Nintendo Switch, which is Nintendo's best-selling device in history, has sold over 150 million units and generated over $100 billion. Recently, Nintendo announced that it would be releasing the much-anticipated Nintendo Switch 2. So I figured, what better time to quickly recap on Nintendo's evolution. And by the way, I've also done a video on PlayStation evolution, which I share in the description, and here on the screen as well, for you to watch if you'd like next. But this video is all about Nintendo. Nintendo's debut in the home video console industry started in 1977 with the color TV game 6. The Japan-exclusive system allowed you to play 6 inbuilt Pong-inspired minigames on Color TV. It was followed by 4 more systems in the series: the Color TV Game 15, TV Game Racing 112, TV Game Block Kuzushi, and finally, the Computer TV Game. Then came the Game & Watch in 1980, Nintendo's first handheld device. The device was incredibly basic, featuring just one game that you could play on an LCD screen. And of course it included a watch. However, Nintendo would improve on the console and release multiple games, including Parachute, Balloon Fight, Mario Bros., and Mario the Juggler in later years. Ultimately, it was the Nintendo Entertainment System, also known as the NES, that really catapulted the company to the international stage. The NES was the first home video console to be released outside of Japan and was similar to Japan's version, the Family Computer. The NES, which featured a simple, innovative controller, was extremely successful, selling nearly 62 million units globally. It helped revive the American video game industry, which was essentially on its knees at the time. Notable NES games included Final Fantasy, The Legend of Zelda, Duck Hunt, Metroid, and of course, Super Mario Bros. Then, in 1991, Nintendo released the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, also known as the SNES. The SNES was the Western version of Japan's Super Family Computer, and came with much bigger processing power, better audio, and more advanced cartridges, with storage of up to 120 megabytes. Unfortunately, the SNES wasn't as successful as its predecessor in the US, although it made up for that by selling well in Europe and eventually becoming the best-selling console of its generation, with nearly 50 million units sold. The most popular games on the SNES included Super Metroid, Final Fantasy VI, The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past, Super Mario World, Mega Man 10, Street Fighter II, and Super Mario RPG. 5 years after the SNES, Nintendo upgraded from a 16-bit to a 64-bit processor with the launch of the Nintendo 64. Aside from the faster processor, which clocked at 93.75 MHz, the N64 also came with 4 MB of RAM, a new 3-prong controller, and 4 controller ports for multiplayer support. The graphics were also spectacular for the time, with its SGI Reality coprocessor supporting over 16.8 million colors and resolutions of up to 640 by 480. Despite its impressive features, the N64 struggled to compete against the massively successful PlayStation, which had been released a year and a half earlier. Ultimately, the N64 sold approximately 32.93 million units worldwide. Unfortunately, this wasn't Nintendo's toughest launch yet. In 2001, Nintendo released the GameCube just 3 days after the Xbox's launch. Initially available in black and indigo, GameCube came with an IBM PowerPC 486 MHz Gecko CPU, 43 MB of RAM, up to 640 by 480 resolution, two-pronged controller design, and an up to 1.5 gigabyte optical disc. As for notable games, it had franchises like Super Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime, Super Smash Bros. Melee, The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker, Eternal Darkness, and Resident Evil 4. Unfortunately, the PS2 and Xbox were far more popular and superior, and GameCube only managed to sell 21.7 million units against a projected 50 million. By the time the 7th generation of consoles rolled by, Nintendo had accepted that it was sharing the video gaming market with Sony and Microsoft. Then, on November 19, 2006, it released the Wii, 2 days after the PlayStation 3. Wii was a great success, thanks to its motion sensors which detected movement in 3 dimensions. And while the processor wasn't as great, Wii came with 512 megabytes of internal storage, backward compatibility, virtual console game downloads, and Wii Connect 24, a standby mode for online updates. With Wii, you could play games like Wii Sports, Mario Kart Wii, Metroid Prime 3, Corruption, Donkey Kong Country Returns, The Legend of Zelda, Skyward Sword, and the Super Mario Galaxy series. Wii would go on to sell an incredible 101 million units worldwide. Riding on Wii's success, Nintendo would release Wii U in 2012. Wii U came with a notable new design, which included a console and a separate gamepad. The gamepad featured a multi-purpose touchscreen, dual analog sticks, a D-pad, and several buttons. Internally, Wii U was backward compatible with Wii, supported up to 1080p resolution, included 8 GB of storage along with 2 GB of DDR3 RAM, and clocked a top speed of 1.24 GHz. Despite all this, Wii U flopped, selling just 13.5 million units. It is, in fact, Nintendo's lowest-selling major console so far. But even though Wii U was a flop, its tablet-like design paved the way for Nintendo Switch in 2017. While its internal features don't particularly stand out from the Xbox One or PS4, Nintendo Switch was compact and highly flexible. You could play games like The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, and more on your TV or on the 6.2-inch 1280 by 720p touchscreen, anywhere on the go. Nintendo Switch was, unsurprisingly, a hit, selling 150 million units so far and becoming the best-selling Nintendo console. The Nintendo Switch 2 will be coming out on June 5, 2025, and is expected to feature a new design, a bigger 7.9-inch LCD display with 1080p resolution, a custom chipset, and even a game chat. But the real question is, will it be as successful as the original Switch? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Also, check out the video on screen where I dive into why old games might just be better than today's. Thanks for watching.